Hello, my name is Dustin W. McCrory, and I'm going to be analyzing the Consortium of School Networking Framework of Essential Skills. I'm a middle school STEM teacher in Santa Ma, which is in Ascension Parish, Louisiana. I've been teaching for 6 years. As a middle school STEM teacher, I have chosen the Framework of Essential Skills established by the Consortium of School Networking, or CoSN, to help me analyze the school and district in which I work. CoSN is one of the professional organizations that leads the nation in technology leadership in K through 12 education. Their mission is to equip current and aspiring K-12 education technology leaders, their teams, and school districts with the community, knowledge, and professional development they need to cultivate engaging learning environments. Published in February of 2026, CoSN's framework reads like a set of educational standards. Their goals align under three key concepts: leadership and vision, understanding the educational environment, and managing technology and support resources. EdTech leaders need to pay attention to how their decisions impact stakeholders. They need to plan strategically to identify steps needed to transform the educational environment and the technology supporting educators and learners alike. They need to manage policies and procedures surrounding the social, legal, and ethical issues involving technology. Regarding an organization's understanding of the learning environments, leaders need to prepare and coordinate systems to disseminate information through professional development, and the need to ensure adequate staff are in place to assess the quality of the technology and determine if the budget is sufficient to address needs as they arise. When managing technology and support resources, CoSN believe leaders need to take charge of the implementation of technology at all levels of the organization, whether that's through clear communication protocols to align organizational vision with stakeholders, business leaders, and vendors. Furthermore, technology leaders need to prioritize the appropriate management of data, not just for the sake of students' personally identifiable information and anonymity thereof, but to determine the adequacy of the tools used and the data generated. I've chosen to use this framework as a kind of rubric to assess both my school and the district. To this end, I'll provide a brief numerical value for each subpart, similar to that of the evaluation rubrics used to assess teacher efficacy. Following this assessment, I'll determine what areas I believe are effective, emerging, or ineffective. A1 and A2. At our school, we have an instructional leadership team who get together roughly monthly to discuss ongoing concerns. As it stands, I'm unaware of any consistent discussion surrounding the connection between the school's vision to provide a safe, disciplined environment so that all students achieve maximum success, and the technology we rely upon. However, we have upgraded security systems in the wake of data exposure incidents through national tech partners. We utilize ID badges to access secure areas. We have an app called Raptor to use during school emergencies. Administration at our school establishes and reinforces procedures for the use of such technology. However, the tech is clunky, and sometimes the sign-in process can be difficult. I'll score a 3 out of 5. There is a culture of data-driven goals. However, the data is poorly understood or inappropriately utilized. For example, one year, a group of 7th grade ELA students attained an academic index over 90 based on their achievement of mastery or advanced on district benchmarks. The following year, another group of 7th grade ELA students entered with a much lower AI. Despite growing them, they did not score higher on the concluding benchmarks as the previous year's 7th graders. Administration wanted to know why the student scores were lower than the previous years, and the only response we could offer was, are we expecting each batch of students to do better than the previous? When do we begin to expect perfection out of each student? The complaint was that they were comparing apples to oranges, but this fell on deaf ears. In each subsequent year, some core class, whether that's ELA, social studies, math, or science, has likewise had a lower group of students enter their grade level than the previous year's students, grow, but not enough to surpass the previous year's growth, which makes administration unhappy. As a team, the teachers feel frustrated by this misunderstanding of data. I score the school 1 out of 5. Both the school and the district are quick to spend money on technology. Each of the middle schools in our district received an upgraded computer lab with 25 Alienware laptops. At nearly $2,000 per laptop, the district spent nearly $500,000 on this infrastructure. However, the old laptop charging stations didn't fit the new laptops. The old chargers were insufficient to power the new devices. A new charging cart was ordered, delivered to schools, but it cannot house all the computers and the chargers. We still have to use the lower wattage chargers as well, so 5 computers sit outside the charging station. As a side note, the station traps a tremendous amount of heat inside when we use the low wattage adapters. Additionally, the charging station has a way to sanitize the laptops, but there is no way to engage this feature. The district recently spent $18,000 on a 3D printer for my classroom and another in the district. This new printer requires proprietary software to run and proprietary and very expensive filament. There's almost no budget for replacing this filament, so the 3D printer languishes. Despite this, I'll give the school and district a score of 4 out of 5. I think this goes without saying that the people in our school and district have the best intentions, but the customer serviceification of the system has eroded confidence at all levels. 3 out of 5. All levels of leadership, both at my school and at the school board, are professional, courteous, and prompt. An easy 4 out of 5. We collaborate, but professional learning communities, or PLCs, don't get priority to develop new ways to integrate technology into the classroom. At best, we have time to ensure that we are progressing through the curriculum at a similar pace. There is not much room to differentiate as needed at the classroom level. 2 out of 5. When new technology rolls out, we usually get 1 or 2 days notice and have to adapt. The last week of school, we were told that our smart boards were being replaced, and then on the last day of school, after we finished packing up our rooms for the summer, an email snuck in near the end of the day, many teachers having already gone, asking us to prepare our smart board accessories for easy retrieval. 2 out of 5. I think my experience in Ascension Parish has given me reason to believe that the district isn't circumspect with regards to their use of technology, in particular, the way technology is funded and maintained. I plan to analyze the technology expenditures over the next few years, especially in my leadership role in the local union. I see students provided with Chromebooks, ostensibly to narrow the achievement gap caused by economic circumstances. However, students treat the technology with levels of disrespect, and school officials don't seem to care. It is for this and a myriad of reasons I think we should be careful about the scattershot methodology of technology integration that needs to be carefully addressed and overseen. I think we need to do better informing our community how much money is wasted on technology. I think we need to prepare students to use the technology instead of assuming they, as digital natives, have a sufficient understanding thereof. A fish isn't aware of the water. Finally, I think schools and districts should ensure that technology isn't wasted. For example, the 3D printer in my room. Finally, as students expect to use technology more for classes, a concerted effort needs to be made in order to make sure that students aren't overly reliant on technology, such as AI and writing assistants, and schools aren't overly reliant on the Google ecosystem.